You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Italy's Prime Minister cheered across world as she delivers thrashing to Trump, based on an article by Travis Geddes. Trump's lie, Italy's humiliation. The real power. Donald Trump is the President of the United States. Giorgia Meloni is the Prime Minister of Italy. That asymmetry is the story. When Trump invents a scene in which Meloni supposedly begged him for a photo, he is not just being crude. He is using the prestige of U.S. office to degrade an ally publicly and test how much disrespect allies will absorb before they answer back. Meloni's reply was unusually direct because the insult was unusually naked. She called the claim completely made up and said Italy does not beg. That is not diplomatic ornament. It is a refusal to let the President of the United States rewrite the exchange in a way that turns her into a supplicant and him into the benefactor. What happened? The source is straightforward on the facts. Trump claimed on Italian television that Meloni had begged for a photo and that he agreed out of pity. Meloni rejected the story. Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani then cancelled a planned U.S. visit, calling Trump's words serious and offensive. That escalation matters more than the gossip layer attached to it. This was not a misunderstanding between equals. It was a deliberate insult from the head of the most powerful state in the alliance, followed by a visible diplomatic cost for Italy. The article's celebrity politics framing obscures that basic structure. Who benefited from the lie? No one. That is the point. Trump's story did not advance U.S. policy, strengthen the alliance, or improve leverage with Italy. According to the source, even sympathetic observers saw it as a blatant lie that produced fallout for the United States. That makes the behavior worse, not better. When a president manufactures a false anecdote for dominance theater, the purpose is not strategy, it is status enforcement. He performs power by inventing a hierarchy and making the other side publicly reject it. The consequence is that the alliance absorbs the damage while Trump gets the spectacle. The misleading frame. The weakest framing here is the idea that this is mainly about Trump's personality, his ego, or his habit of being rude. Those are descriptors, not explanations. Personality is the surface. The institutional problem is that a president can casually degrade an allied head of government and drag U.S. diplomacy into a self-inflicted credibility loss. The source also shows how easily commentary slips into sexist and aesthetic reaction, as if the scandal is that he bullied a woman or that she answered like Mount Vesuvius. That is beside the point. The issue is not decorum. It is the use of executive authority to lie downward and impose humiliation upward on paper while preserving actual power where it already sits. The pattern. This fits a familiar pattern. Flatter autocrats, sneer at democratically aligned partners, then act surprised when allies stop volunteering their dignity. The source even hints at this contradiction through outside commentary, noting Trump's indulgence toward enemies of the West and his abuse of allies. That is not inconsistency. It is a political method. The method is simple. Confuse loyalty with submission, call insult honesty, and treat alliance as a stage for personal dominance. The result is institutional cowardice from those who keep pretending this is normal diplomacy. It is not. It is the degradation of foreign policy into a loyalty display for one man's ego. The larger lesson. This story is not about a photo, and it is not about wounded feelings. It is about what happens when a presidency is used to manufacture hierarchy for its own sake. Allies are not partners in that system. They are props, targets, or proof of power objects, depending on the moment. That is the real scandal. Not that Trump lies. That much is settled. The scandal is that the office allows the lie to travel as state power, forcing other governments to spend diplomatic capital cleaning up his performance. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Rostoi for today's article, with the automated voice of Marcus. Thanks for listening.